What's up, everybody? The day has finally come for me to review this beauty right here. You may or may not remember, I went to NAMM Show in June this past year, and I went with my buddy, Jay Gabs. We both flew out to Los Angeles and went down to Anaheim and checked out all the new stuff in the music industry. And I came upon this thing at it was actually the Revolution drum booth. John from Revolution Drum and John from Cherry Hills Drums shared a booth together. Yeah, I came across that snare, and I've been following these guys for a long time on Instagram. Love their work and all of that stuff. And so when I saw this snare drum in the Revolution booth, I was like, whoa, I gotta check it out. And then I made the mistake of playing it. And yeah, so now it's here. And now that it is here, and I've been playing it for the past 6 months or so, pretty much exclusively. I just did a cover that I'm going to be sharing in the new year coming up. And I don't know if you can guess what song I covered, but I went back to my Black Beauty. I don't know if you could see it right there. I just wonder if you can imagine what artist I would cover that I would actually consider, going back to the Black Beauty for. There's only a handful of drummers with that. I mean, everybody uses the Black Beauty, but there's only a handful of drummers that you could possibly guess. I would be like, okay, even though I love my Cherry Hill snare, I have the Black Beauty and I might as well use it for this artist. So if you can guess, it's kind of like a side, but if you can guess what the cover is before I release it, I think it's January 6th, 2023. Maybe we'll do like some sort of contest or something. But yeah, let me know if you can guess what artist I'm covering. It'd be a pretty cool game. Anyways, back to this snare drum right here. So yeah, I brought it home. It wasn't cheap, but it was totally worth it, at least for me. This snare drum does everything that I want it to. The way that it sounds, the way that it plays, I can tune it to any tuning, low, medium, high, and it sings. It sounds so amazing. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually play it here because there's so many videos that I've done in the 6 months that I've had it. And I'll put links to them in the description, and also I'll put some cards up in the corner to videos I've done with this snare. You'll be able to see what it sounds like tuned high, tuned middle, and then tuned low. But this thing is so amazing. I actually have the same head that I bought it with. I haven't changed heads out at all. I haven't changed anything. That's the thing. Like with some snare drums, you have to switch out things. Like even with my Black Beauty, I had to switch out the strainer because it's just the original Ludwig strainers are not very good. So I went with the updated modified P88 Ludwig snare strainer. I did a video on that. I'll probably put a link to the description in that one as well. But yeah, even the Black Beauty, I had to switch out some parts. But this thing right here is completely well-rounded. It's like buying a Mercedes or something. You don't have to really do much to it at all. This particular drum, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't even have to change heads yet. So I'm not sponsored or anything like that. This is totally 100% my opinion on this snare. If I had a choice to buy it again, I definitely would. So anything Cherry Hill drums, I know is top quality because it's all 100% handmade. I mean, the only thing that's not handmade is probably the heads and the actual snare wires underneath. But I mean, you're talking about the rims. These are die-cast hoops. Maybe the lugs, or whatever the tension rods. These probably aren't handmade, but the lugs are handmade. The hoops, the strainer, and the butt, they're all handmade. And of course the shell. So everything is handmade. This is a one-of-a-kind snare drum. I guess it's not one of a kind. There's two of a kind. There's one that's, I believe, a 6.5 by 14. This one, even though this is the actual tag that came with it, it says 14 by 5 3/4, but it's actually 14 by 5 7/8, which is 5.875. So here you go. It's a curly mahogany and maple. So I don't know. I'm guessing this is the mahogany, the darker wood, and this is the maple. I'm not a wood expert. John could probably tell you more. Sorry, I'm out of out of focus. I'm using this new to me at least, this new app called Double Take or something like that, where you can record both the front and back cameras on your phone. So I'm doing this on my phone just because, I want to have both sides of the cameras working at the same time, so you can see me and you can see this beautiful piece of artwork right here. So yeah, anyways, it's mahogany and maple with cast bronze hoops, all solid brass hardware, and it's got mother of pearl inlays. So right here you can see there's a mother of pearl in here, as well as on top of the snare strainer. And let me turn this thing around so that you can see the butt end of the strainer. What are these things called anyway? I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know. And then the actual snare wires are made by Canopus. So we keep turning this thing. And there's the badge, the Cherry Hill badge right there. And I mean, you can see this thing is just, it's so beautiful. And then when you play it, it just sings. I don't know, there's just something of, sometimes you play a snare and it sounds different when you hear it live and then when you record it. This thing, it just sounds so good no matter where you're using it, whether you're playing it live, whether you're playing it in a room, whether you're recording it. There's just something about it that just, it feels different. It sounds different. Yeah, I'm over the moon. It's been 6 months and it's still my favorite drum. Actually, I've got to tell you the truth, because I did this cover with the Black Beauty over there. The Black Beauty was just like, I understand why it's withstood the test of time. I love my Black Beauty as well. But this thing, I can't say enough great things about this snare. I'm almost torn between using this one and the Black Beauty. And that's just a testament to Cherry Hill drums. Going against a behemoth like the Black Beauty. This thing has been on my drum set ever since I've brought it home. I haven't used the Black Beauty since. This cover that I just did yesterday was the first time I put the Black Beauty on my drum set in 6 months, and that was because of two reasons. One, I wanted to use it because of the artist that I'm covering. He also used the Black Beauty and Ludwig drums as a whole. And two, because this thing is just pound for pound has replaced my Black Beauty without any setbacks or anything like that. And if anything, it's been just as good or even better as the Black Beauty. The only complaint, I guess you could call it, for me is if you're using triggers. I use the D drum trigger. Let me see if I could. I put it on my side snare right here, so you can see it. Sorry, you can see that right there. That's my D drum snare trigger. Because the hoops on this thing are so deep, it raises up a lot higher on the drum. So when you put the D drum trigger on these hoops, they don't actually rest on the head of the snare. So the trigger doesn't really work because it's not getting any signal from the snare head. I don't really use the trigger all that much anyway. I mean, I've had the trigger maybe for a little bit longer than the snare, probably about like 8 months, and I've probably used it 3 or 4 times. So it's not that big of a deal. If I do feel like I need to use the trigger for a song in the future, I'll probably just use the Black Beauty. Yeah, that's the only real complaint that I have about this snare, is that I can't use triggers, and oh well. But I know there's drummers out there that rely on triggers. So if that's the case, maybe kind of shy away from using die-cast tubes, because I think in general die-cast tubes are a little bit, I don't know if it's deeper or taller or what dimension you want to call it. But yeah, maybe stick to the regular snare drum hoops so that your trigger can rest on the snare drum, or use different drum triggers. I'm sure there's triggers out there that you could just rest on the snare. I don't remember what the brand is, but there's ones that are just like a little circle and it rests on the head. It doesn't actually mount to the hoop. So yeah, that's my take on triggers, and my one little pseudo complaint about this drum right here. Otherwise, yeah, it's amazing, and I can only speak to the quality of Cherry Hill drums. I know this is no one else can go and buy this drum right now. This is the only one there. So I guess my videos, the purpose isn't for me to say, oh, go and buy this drum because there's only one. But go and buy any drum from Cherry Hill Drums and you'll be happy. Not only does he do drums, he does drum keys, he does bass drum beaters, he does cymbal, what do you call them? Cymbal washers or whatever, fasteners. These are actually from Revolution Drum, and I think they're in collaboration with each other for these things, but I've got them all on all my cymbals. Revolution Drum is another company that you should check out. Some really just artisan type stuff, like high quality. These things are gonna last forever. And I'm tired of buying just like the cheap stuff over and over again. I'd rather buy something that is gonna last me a long time, possibly forever, and only have to buy it once. That's the stage that I am in my life. I know a lot of younger drummers are probably not at that stage where they can, drop $1,500 on a snare. But if you can afford it, buy this thing. You'll have it for the rest of your life, and you won't have to worry about buying another snare drum ever again. And I know, there is snare porn out there. Some guys like to have 100, 200, 500 snare drums. One, I don't have the room. And two, it takes so much to set this whole thing up. And I get lazy. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if that snare drum stayed there for a while. And just because I'm lazy about it. But I think I'll probably miss this thing after a couple of days or so, and it'll get back onto my set. But I'm not one to switch out snares all the time. I feel like I can get what I need from one snare, especially if it's this high quality, like this Cherry Hill snare or a Black Beauty. Otherwise, yeah, I feel like higher quality drums, you don't really have to switch them out unless you want to. If I were a younger kid, I knew how many snares I would go through, how many. I mean, I guess cymbals, you kind of have to go through them because you're going to break them eventually. Drums, drum equipment, snare drums. If I knew how much money I would be spending because I would go the cheap or the mid-range route, if I did it again, I would probably just buy the good stuff and be done with it. And that's exactly what anything from Cherry Hill Drums would be. So yeah, this is my, I guess, sort of review of this snare drum, more so that you can really see it up close and how beautiful this thing is. I know in my videos you can't really see the snare all too much. You can hear it, you can definitely hear it, so I'm going to definitely post those links to the covers that I did with this thing so you can see the way it sounded, the way it's tuned high, mid, and low, like a lot of these Instagram videos do, which I geek out on too. I love when I see Memphis Drums do their snare demos where they have it tuned low, and then they have it tuned middle, then they have it tuned high, and you can hear all the different tunings that the drum can excel at. Well, this is no different. I'm not going to be doing a live setting where I'm playing it low, mid, high, but I'll definitely include videos where you can hear the way that it sounds. And really all I do in post when I'm mixing and whatnot is the standard EQ, compression, and sometimes a little bit of reverb. If it's an 80s song or something, I'll put a gate reverb on it so that it's got that 80s big sound. But I'm not going to put any links to songs where I used excessive effects on the snare. I'll post a link to videos where all I'm using is a little bit of compression and EQ, and that's it. And then that way you can hear the way the drum sounds naturally just through a microphone. And that's basically it. I mean, I really, like I said before, I have nothing but good things to say about this snare drum, and I'm gonna forget about me in the picture and just trying to focus more on this beautiful thing and let you guys see what it looks like on the camera. Just the way that it just shines, the brass with the two different types of wood and the mother of pearl inlays. It's very subtle. Nothing really screams out at you. There's no loud artwork or graphics or anything like that. It's just the natural appearance of the materials that are used are what just makes this thing look so beautiful. You know, when you have great finish to the wood like this, and I think he put what the finish is. It's a 2K matte finish, whatever that means. I don't have no idea when it comes to the process that it takes to do all this. Like, whatever a 2K matte finish means. I mean, it's definitely, it's not lacquered, and it's not like super shiny. There is a matte to it, but it feels so smooth and soft, and yeah, it just lets the wood come through, and you can see the wood, the beauty of the wood, the brushed brass. You don't really need anything else. So that's the beauty of this drum right here, visually and sonically. I think it's even more beautiful. So yeah, there's a good look at my snare. Check out Cherry Hill Drums. I'll put a link to them in the description, as well as a link to Revolution Drum. And as another note, when I met John from Revolution Drum, the nicest guy. He was so nice, very humble. Both him and John from Cherry Hill, very humble guys. Yeah, I came home, and about a month later, I saw online that there was a fundraiser for John from Revolution Drum, because I guess he had cancer, and it came back, and it's stage 4. So I'm not sure if the fundraiser is still going, but if it is, I'll definitely put a link to it, and please donate if you can. And just help the cause. He's a super nice guy, and I hope he pulls through. I'll be praying for you, John, if you're watching this. Just check them out. Support if you can. These are local shops, mom and pop shops. I think it's a one-man operation on both sides. They might have a couple of people helping out, but it literally is like a garage type shop. They're not like huge productions or anything like that. So anything that you buy from them, it's directly helping them. And that's another thing that I really, really love. It's rare that you find companies that are that small who are making such wonderful products. And he also threw in this bag right here from Tackle Instrument Supply. I'm not too familiar with that company, but this is like a super heavy duty bag. It's got leather straps, like strong leather straps. It's I don't know how many plies of canvas this is, but it's pretty heavy duty. And I'm sure it wasn't cheap either. And that's the way he brought it to the NAMM Show, and he just threw the bag in there. Yeah, those are the types of guys that are running Cherry Hill Drums and Revolution Drums. And, those little things just go a long way. And I love supporting companies like that. And then they make it easy because the drums are so good. But anyways, I'm done talking up all of this stuff. I'm not really good at hiding my feelings. It's just me basically telling you guys how much I love this drum, and I hope you guys go and support Cherry Hill and Revolution Drum. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've got. Hopefully you guys watching this will find something informative and entertaining. And if I did miss anything that you guys want to know about this drum, let me know. Write it in the comments or hit me up on social media, and I'll definitely answer any questions that you have. I think that pretty much sums it up. All the specs, all the materials, the price I mentioned before, it was $1,500. I got it at NAMM Show, and it's a one-of-a-kind thing, so don't go looking for another one. I'm definitely not going to sell this thing anytime soon. And there isn't another one out there to be had. So I'm lucky, I'm blessed, I know it. But there are definitely more Cherry Hill drums out there to be had. And if you're in the market, I suggest you go and get one because you won't regret it. Alrighty, y'all. This is KMKanDrum. Sayonara, and have a great day. God bless y'all.